got all the new injectors in place here. We're going to start the tune-up. So anytime you disturb all this, pulling this apart, you got to readjust your exhaust clearance, exhaust valve clearance, and your injector heights. So we're going to go through all that, set those, and then also with the jakes, you got these. The jake solenoid has a feeler gauge height setting as well, so we'll have to do those as well. So you crank the engine over until the injector is depressed to check the exhaust valves, and this one has the exhaust valves depressed, so we'll go ahead and check the injector height on that one. And then we'll turn it over until we get all of them done on this side. Usually you can do it with both sides, but I like to just get one side done because it's a little bit of a pain to get to the other side. So I didn't video that side. We're just doing this side. I'll give you an example of how you do this. All right, so with the exhaust valves, I got my feeler gauges out. I've got 0.015, 0.016, and 0.017. So 0.016 is the setting, is the exhaust valve clearance setting. And then you check it. The 0.015 should go underneath it, and the 0.017 shouldn't go. So go, no go. They actually make a stepped one, but my set does not have that one in it. So unfortunately, it has every size just about except for that one. So we're sliding under with the 0.15 there. And I think as loose as that is, the 0.17, I think it's going to slip under there. Yeah, so that one needs to be adjusted. We'll go back to the 0.015 on this one. So that one goes under fairly easily, so I bet that's going to be the same. We're going to need to adjust it. Yep, so the 0.017 is going on there. So both of those are too loose. So we're going to need to go through and reset them. Alright, so hopefully we can see here. So we got to loosen this jam nut here. And there are special wrenches for this, but I actually think they're more of a pain than they're worth. So it's very hard for me to see this from where I'm at. Listen, these two are the exhaust. The middle one here, that's the injector. So you just want to leave that. These are the push rods. So that's how you're adjusting the length. You're going to turn the push rod to either push it to lengthen it or shorten it. So then that's a 1/2 inch jam nut, and then this is a 5/16 wrench to go on the actual push rod to adjust the length. So now we're going to stick our 0.016 under there while we're adjusting it and feel for the drag. So as I move it toward the front of the bus or toward the back of the engine, it's getting tighter. So that's making the push rod longer. So I'm going to go a little bit tighter and get some good drag on that. And then this is the tricky part. You got to hold the push rod with one wrench. Usually what I do is I'll stick this wrench off to the side like that and then tighten up the thing. Is getting another hand in here. But the camera's right where I need to be. Get this wrong way. Let me get that started and then get another hand on here. Oops. Yeah. Unfortunately, this is not the best spot here. Angle on that. Yeah, there we go. Now we're gonna snug that down and then check it again. So I don't know if you can see where I'm checking it, hopefully. Getting this. So we'll go again with the 0.015. See if we slide under there. So nope, I got a little too tight. Kind of keep going the wrong way. So, now, like I said, the trick is getting these 2 wrenches in here. All right, snugged up. So we'll try the 0.015 again. So yeah, we got a good. This is gonna be good, I think. Yep, and then the 0.017 won't go. So that one's beautiful. Yep. So now we're gonna do the other one. So we got the 0.016 in there. We need to tighten it up just a touch. I think that's pretty good there. Give that a shot. So the trick is, what happens is when you actually tighten up this nut, it actually lengthens the push rod a little bit. So you got to kind of keep it just a touch looser than you think in order for it to, for when you tighten it up, that it's in the right spot. Now that, hold the wrench and then snug it up. All right. So then 0.015, we should slide under there. That's a touch tight. I think I'm gonna back that off just a little bit. Keep going to go this way. These are opposite because they're unscrewing the opposite way. So what I normally do is I remember where I had the wrench originally, and so I can kind of back that off just a little bit, so I know where we're at. So we'll snug that up. Keep it up tight. All right, we got good. Yeah, I think that's where we want to be right there. So I'm happy with those exhaust valves. So that's how you set the exhaust valves. We're going to continue on through the settings. I'm going to move you over here so we can set this injector on this middle one since its exhaust valves are depressed. So move you over there and we can do that. All right, so I think I've developed a way to do the injector heights with a regular, this is a regular dial indicator. The only difference is I mounted it on a magnetic base. So I bought a little magnet. It's a, one of those super strong rare earth magnets. So I screwed my base into that. And then what I'm doing is I have extensions. So the extensions are exactly 1 inch difference. So, and I mic'd them with, or checked them with my calipers. You know, this is pretty darn close. Um, so we first take the longer one, and we're going to put it on the caliper. And then we're going to zero this thing out on the top of the injector base. Right now we're not quite low enough, it's not sitting on the injector base. So I've got to adjust this a touch. I think it needs to come out some. So I'm going to drop this down until we start reading and we get close to 0 here. Now we've got some fine adjustments, so I can, once I get it in there close, I can adjust it with this guy. Yeah, there we go. So now we're zeroed out. I got that locked, and we're 0 on the little gauge too. So that's on the little dial. So the little dial indicates tenths, I guess you could say. So, and yeah, that'll come into play when we go to do this. So I just make sure we're all set. So now we're zeroed out on the base of the injector. And what we do is, now we're going to change this tip out to the 1 inch shorter one. And then all we got to do, I don't know if you can see this, all we got to do is we're going to rotate this thing up on top of the injector, the top of the injector. So we're rotating, and we're exactly in the same plane. And it's, I mean, like I said, this is far more accurate than what you would normally use is the pin gauges. So this is normally how you set the injector heights. So there's actually a little hole in next to the injector, in the injector base. This sits in there, and then you spin it and you check and see if it wipes over the top. So that's how you typically set these. There is a snap-on gauge, and that's what I'm trying to replace with this, is that there's a snap-on gauge that'll sit on these without jakes. But when you have jakes, it won't fit in here. So this is what I'm doing to kind of replace that snap-on gauge. It's a touch more fiddly, obviously, than the snap-on gauge, because the snap-on gauge, you can just set it on there and go. This one, you got to change back and forth between these, between the height of these things. But now, so this guy will tell us now the exact height of our follower. That's what that's called, the injector follower, the top of the injector pad. So right now we have a 4 here, so that's going to be, and we've gone around. We know we have an inch difference because of the inch difference in the length of these. So we're at 1 inch, and so we're at 1.4, and right now we're, let's see here, I can't, it's hard to see at this angle. 1.18, so it's 1.418 is where we're at right now. So we're going to be setting these to 1.484. And what I found on the other side is actually we have to go past that to 1.493, in order to get to the setting. All right, so yeah, we're going to set these to 1.488 because I want to actually retard the timing a little bit. So the injector timing. So yeah, we're initially going to set it to 1.493 because when you tighten it down, you'll see it'll go back to 1.488 or pretty darn close. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. This is going to be difficult because I can't see the gauge from over here. So we got to loosen the jam nut. All right, we got the jam nut loose. And what I'm going to do is probably go back around the other side so I can watch it as I adjust it. So like I said, we need to go up higher. We want to make this injector follower taller, which means we need to bring it up. So which means this gauge will go up. So that's down. So we're going to go, we're a little past 3, 4 past 4, past 5, almost 6, 7, 8. Like I said, we want to go all the way to 493. I got to get down here where I can see this. So we're at 9, 1, 2. Come on. Sorry, my head's probably in the way. That's 9.3 right there. So once we tighten this lock nut down, hopefully we'll stay right where we're at. See if I can do it from this side. I think the lock nut's already getting tight. Trying to do this by feel here. So there we go. All right, we're on the lock nut. So we're going to tighten that thing down. All right, so we're right in between 8.8 and 8.9. So I think I'm going to call that good. It's pretty darn close. I said you could sit here and fiddle with this all day long, but that is pretty darn close. And like I said, it's going to be, I mean, you're looking at more than thousands difference here. So it's much more accurate than you would ever get with the little pin gauges. So I'm just going to make sure we're tight here. All right. Double check my injector height. Yeah, that actually, just tightening that up that little bit actually puts us right on 488. So we're perfect. So that's how I've been doing these. And like I said, it's going to give you a whole lot better accuracy than those little pin gauges. All right, so I'm just marking these guys that I've adjusted. So I know which ones I've done. I just mark on the little front of the rocker arm when I've adjusted it. Also, while we're here, so we're going to check the Jake adjustment. So while you have the exhaust, while you're checking the exhaust valves, you also check the Jake adjustment. So the Jake adjustment is 0.059 typically. There's 2 different settings, so make sure, but on this particular setting, it's 0.059. So I've got actually 3 I've stacked 3 different feeler gauges because I don't have a .059. So I'm going to stick that in there, and then it's going to be like the exhaust should have a little drag. And actually, that's pretty darn good right there. This is where the little angle ones would come in handy because there's stuff in the way here. And these are so stiff, but I think the drag is just about perfect on that one. So we're going to call it good. So you're just going between the little Jake plunger, I guess you could call it, and the top of the valve bridge pad. Yeah, yeah. So just double check that height. We'll show you eventually on one of these. I'm sure it's going to be out of adjustment, but that's what this nut on the top here does. So you got to loosen this jam nut here, and then there's an Allen key in the top, so you can adjust the height to that. And like I said, I'm sure one of these is going to be out of adjustment. So, all right, let's turn the engine over. So we're going to bar the engine over until we get the next one coming down. So we're starting to push down the exhaust valves here. We're starting to push down the injector here. So we'll wait till that's at the bottom. A little more. Just a teeny bit. Easy. A little more. A little more. That's good. We're bottomed out on here for the exhaust valves. So that means we can check the injector here. And here we're bottomed out on the injector, so we can check these exhaust valves and the Jake setting. So let's go ahead and check the exhaust valves on this guy. So this is again the .015. That's really loose. That's really loose. I'm guessing these are going to be too loose. And let's check the .017. Yeah, too loose, it goes under. Too loose, it goes under. So we've got to adjust those. So again, we go to the back side. Loosen the jam nuts with a 1/2 inch wrench. Tight. Oh. Alright, so we got those loose. Jam nuts loose. We'll give you a view on this side of me checking it. So I got the .016. Again, we turn the push rod. So that's looser. So if you go clockwise, it's tighter. I'm going to go with that guy. A little tighter. That's pretty good. So I'm going to tighten up these jam nuts and give it a check again. So we're going to go in again with the .015. See if we go under. No, a little too tight. Just a little too tight. Unfortunately, I don't do these enough to remember the feel every time. But I do know now where it's at. So I'm going to turn it back, turn these back about the same amount. They're both about the same amount of snugness. It's a technical term, snugness. Oh, snug that nut up again, the jam nut up again. All right. 0.015 again. All right, we're under there. I think this is going to be good. Yep. That one might be a touch looser. And 0.017. Yep, that's good. Yeah, that one's just a touch too loose. So one more time on that one. Hope I'm not banging this thing around here. So we're going to go back a little snugger. All right. And that's the 0.015 again. So we're good there. And we got 0.017. And that's it. So we're good on that. And then again, while we checking the exhaust valves, we can check the jakes. The jake setting. So here's my jake setting. It's just a little bit of drag on it. That's what you're looking for. That's actually a touch loose. So we'll go ahead and show you how to do that one. So this is a 9/16 wrench here to loosen this jam nut. And then a 3/16 Allen key. So I'm going to get this guy up under there. Like I said, it feels a little loose. So we're going to bring it down till it just drags. So that's a nice little drag right there. So we hold on to it with the Allen key. Get it in there. Keep it from moving. Snug it up. And we'll just double check it. Yep, I like that. Perfect amount of drag. So we'll call that guy good. We'll mark it. And then we did our exhaust valves. So we'll mark those. Alright, so we're going to be changing or adjusting the fuel modulator. So on your control tube, that's this guy here, you have this little arm. So this is for the fuel modulator. This is the fuel modulator unit right here. So what this does is there's a line, this line here coming from the turbo, way up there, comes off, takes turbo boost, and it runs into here and goes into this. It's basically a cylinder. So what it does is this little arm keeps the injectors going to full fuel without any turbo boost. So it needs the turbo boost to push this cylinder and allow you to go to full fuel. So what that does is when you're taking off from a stoplight, it keeps you from, putting out a bunch of black smoke. So right now I backed this off because I couldn't get this adjustment because I didn't have these little guys. So you're going to need this little tool here, and they come in different widths. So this little width here, and it sits on the rack. Let's see if I can put you down in there. So yeah, it's going to be hard for me to do this. Let me put it in there and then pull the rack back. So this sits right on there. Can you release it? So then it sits right in there on that rack control level off of what you're supposed to do is the injector just in front of the fuel modulator. So technically this is the front of the engine that way. So, and then also you got to push it and hold it to full fuel. So we put a vice grip on the governor lever so we can put it at full throttle. So now, once you have that little gauge in there, and you're going to have to find what gauge goes to your engine. This is 0.465 gauge. So what you do is you take, and you got to bend up your little, your feeler gauges. So this is a 0.017, it's a 0.004, and a 0.005. So you need each of those for this adjustment procedure. So I've loosened this nut right here, this bolt, so that this guy can spin or loosely. So what you need to do is have them push it to full throttle, hold it at full throttle, and then we're going to put the 0.017 down in there. It goes between the roller and the little arm. That's why you got to kind of bend it. And what it says is you can watch this little arm right here is actually being held up vertically, or pretty close to vertically, by friction. So what it tells you is to tighten down this clamp until that arm falls. So there it goes, it fell. You see it fall right there? So now it's loose. So now it says to take that out, put the 0.004 in, release off that for a second. So I have them release it so I can slide the 0.004 in there. So I've got the 0.004 down between the roller. Alright, push it back tight. Now I have them holding it. Now it says to keep tightening in this until that falls again. The little J tool falls down again. There it goes. So now I'm going to pull that out. Now at full throttle it should still stay up. And then now they say you put a 0.005 in there and it should fall down. Let go of it again. 0.005 in there. Alright, hold it on. Alright, so now you can see it's loose with a 0.005, and then if I pull it out, it still stays up. So that's the adjustment procedure for the fuel modulator. So let's hope that works out. Last time I tried this and I had issues, I ended up, after driving for a little bit, the thing would barely take off from a stoplight. So it's the first time I'm messing with this type of fuel modulator. So we'll see. Hopefully this works out. So that's the adjustment procedure for this kind of turbo boost fuel modulator. All right, so we're wrapping this up as far as the injectors go. We've got all the injectors replaced. We did all of our tune-up procedure, including the fuel modulator. The racks and everything I ran last time, so they are in good shape. I double-checked them, but that's all in good shape. I also wanted to show, and I'm going to flip this thing around here, show you how we turn over the engine. So this is yeah, we use an 1 5/16" wrench, and it goes right on the crankshaft bolt down there, and you can turn the engine with that. I like to use a ratcheting wrench just in case this thing happens to turn over for some reason. At least turning it this way, the engine will spin, and it'll spin the ratchet and won't break your arm off. If you used a regular wrench, you might get into some trouble. So that's how we do that. All right, thanks for watching. If you want to be notified of future videos, please subscribe. And that's it. Until next time. A lot of editing here. So yeah, it goes down there on the camshaft, or the words are hard. Thanks for watching again. And thanks for watching. If you think you like the content on this video,